First, our count continues, sadly.
Americans held hostage behind enemy lines. Day 110.
I know the media's turned the page. Joe Biden's turned the page. We will never turn the page. It's 110 days since Joe Biden abandoned Americans in Afghanistan, military families, green card holders, our Afghan allies. It's 123 days since he promised he'd leave nobody behind. Joe Biden lied to every American. Joe, you can still go rescue the Americans, the green card holders, the military families that you abandoned, the ones you promised you wouldn't abandon. Back home, Joe is barely able to form a cogent sentence today during what can be only described as another rambling, bumbling, mumbling speech about COVID-19. The very frail-looking Joe Biden struggled to speak at all and seemingly coughing up an entire lung in the process. Take a look.
Without cutting corners for safety, to get such vaccines reviewed and approved if they're needed, and then get your booster shot when you're eligible. Excuse me. We don't yet believe, excuse me, that additional measures will be needed. I was just told, which is a question I got to ask, I've been meaning to ask for a long time, whether or not just it increases the resistance to the variant that is being dealt with, but it also is it is stronger. It not only just raises the total, but it's a stronger. It makes things more powerful in terms of resisting.
This is not funny. That's supposed to be the leader of the free world. He's clearly not well. Yesterday, during another concerning moment, Joe Biden flat out lied about an important trip to Israel during the Six-Day War. One problem we'll tell you about, but first watch this.
I was saying to a couple of younger members of my staff before I came over about the many times I've been to Israel. I said, and then all of a sudden I realized, God, you're getting old, Biden. I have known every prime minister well since Golda Meir, including Golda Meir. And during the Six-Day War, I had an opportunity to she invited me to come over because I was going to be the liaison between she and the Egyptians about the Suez and so on and so forth.
One big problem, none of that happened. Joe wasn't there. He wasn't even in the Senate. Instead, at the time, he was getting really bad grades in law school. But don't worry, in between the lies, the bumbling, mumbling, confusion, and weakness, Joe Biden has COVID-19. He's got it all figured out. Earlier today, announcing that the federal mask mandate on trains, planes will be extended to the spring of 2022. Also encouraging every American to wear a mask at all times, indoors, before sauntering off stage, mask-free. Take a look.
And we are extending the requirement, both internationally and domestically, to wear masks for travel on aircraft, trains, public transportation through the winter months. Thank you for your patience in listening to me. Thank you.
And then to make matters worse, Joe is now reportedly considering a vaccine mandate for domestic travel, but still preferential treatment exists for illegal immigrants. That continues. No COVID testing, no vaccine mandates, and yes, free travel courtesy of you, the taxpayer, to the state of their choice, where illegal immigrants will receive free room and board and shelter and health care and free education. This as Biden's current vaccine mandates are getting held up in court. But Joe doesn't care. He does whatever the flip-flopping Dr. Fauci tells him to do. He follows him blindly. It's almost as if an unelected, dishonest, lifelong bureaucrat is now running the country. It's that bad. Take a look.
Continuing to give me advice on developments as they occur. I've seen more of Dr. Fauci than I have my wife. We kid each other, but they look, who's president? Fauci. But all kidding aside, I sincerely mean it.
This is not good for our country. Dr. Fauci should not have any role in our federal government. He needs to be fired, needed to be fired a long time ago. He also needs to be investigated for lying to Congress. Fauci got literally every single solitary thing on COVID wrong everything from the beginning. February 2020, he said the risk of COVID-19 in the U.S. is minuscule. Yeah, he was wrong. A few weeks later, he encouraged Americans to travel on cruise ships, saying no reason not to go. Once again, dead wrong. After nearly all of his models, projections, they were all wrong. And remember, 2 weeks to slow the spread, he was wrong again. And let's not forget about his ever-evolving positions on masks. First it was, masks don't work. You know, maybe stop a little bit, but it doesn't work. Then it was one mask, then it was two masks, then it was mask indoors, not outdoors. Then it was vax or mask, then it was vax and mask. Now it's vax, mask, and booster. And probably 10 more boosters after that. Now, first, no vaccine mandate. Now we support mandates. No one on earth has been more inconsistent on COVID-19 than America's so-called top expert, Anthony Flip-Flop Fauci, and it gets worse. Fauci also misled everyone in the country on the origins of COVID-19. Maybe that's because under his direction, it was his NIH that was funding the dangerous gain-of-function research at that Wuhan Institute of Virology prior to the outbreak. In fact, on October the 20th, his own NIH admitted that they funded a study at the Wuhan lab where, quote, spike proteins were tested from naturally occurring bat coronaviruses circulating in China to see if they were capable of binding to a human being. That is, by its very definition, gain-of-function research. You paid for it. But on May 11th, Fauci testified the NIH was not ever involved in funding gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Not ever, not at all. Dr. Fauci is a liar. Now, who knows whether or not Anthony Fauci will ever get prosecuted? That only seems to happen to conservatives or people that know Donald Trump, let alone even investigated for lying to Congress. Don't hold your breath. But make no mistake, Anthony Fauci has to go. He needs to be fired today. He is dishonest, incompetent, and he speculates widely, and he's wrong often. And he spends more time as a political pundit on TV than an actual doctor. And more than anything, he seems to love the limelight. According to the conspiracy theorists at MSDNC, half the country no longer trusts Dr. Fauci because they want the pandemic to continue. What? Name one person that wants this Adam Schiff show to continue. Take a look.
If people follow Fauci, there's likelier a chance that COVID will go away. And if COVID goes away, it's bad right now for Republicans. It's just the math on this, the political math on this is not hard to figure out. Yeah.
Heilemann is just a completely unhinged idiot, even for the network that features, you know, the tinfoil hat-wearing Rachel Maddow, who's going to get $30 million, according to reports, for one show a week. And Democratic operative Chucky Todd, he'll never be Tim Russert. But let me be clear. I would not wish COVID on my worst enemy. I want everybody, whether you agree with me politically or not, if you're a liberal Democrat, if you're part of the progressive caucus, you hate me, you want me off the air, please be careful. I want you to live. Make no mistake, every conservative that I know wants life to return to normal. No more lockdowns, no more draconian measures, no mandates, no masks, no lectures, no scolding. We're sick of it. Now, here's a news flash for MSDNC. Americans don't like Anthony Fauci because he's horrible at his job and he's wrong constantly, and the bar changes every hour of every day. If Biden really cared about reaching all Americans, he would replace Fauci with someone less toxic. That appears not to be happening. Joe Biden is not a uniter. He's a cognitively struggling mess of a Democratic socialist Marxist from Delaware who is in way over his head, and everybody knows it. So now he does whatever his far-left advisors tell him to do. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.